Hello and welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans
by the fans.
I'm Josh Taylor with Justin Smead, and we got our guest host BoogaP,
in the house,
otherwise known as Dave Peters from BoltBeat.com. We got a full Charger show lined up for you guys today. Got prizes to give out, plenty of information, so let your voice be heard. Call in 619-387-3452. We'd love to hear from you. Before we get going, though, we want to say to all those people out there in Connecticut that our hearts and prayers go out to all the loved ones lost.
Absolutely.
You know, the shooting at that school in Newtown, Connecticut, the death toll stands at 27. 20 of those were innocent children. Very tragic, especially around the holidays, but in general, just something that's inexcusable and very sad.
Yeah, there are no words for that.
There aren't.
If you watch
give your kids
news,
a big hug tonight, people. Hold them tight and don't let them go for a minute.
I was going to say,
you
actually have kids, and me and Josh, unfortunately, don't yet. We will. But as a parent, yeah.
It made it pretty tough. My wife was pretty broken up. She's been in tears, and again, like you guys said, prayers out to the families and the friends of the people that lost children, and, of course, the adults as well.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Tragic.
Absolutely. Share the love, people. Share the love.
Yeah.
We're going to have a full hour, the Charger Lightning Hour with BoogaP from BoltBeat.com.
Bolt up, baby!
Bolt up, baby.
Unfortunately, we got to start out with the fact that the Chargers were practically eliminated from playoff contention thanks to Cincinnati last night over the Eagles. This season we've been devastated by injuries, turnovers, poor coaching. Chargers are going to have to win out just to get to 8-8.
Right.
That is pretty bad, Josh. I blame it all on the Eagles. They gave up that first half lead, and they screwed our whole season. So for you Eagles fans, I hate you, and your FU goes to you guys. I'm putting the whole blame on the Eagles, and that's who I'm blaming it on this year, guys.
I think a lot of it has to do with Philadelphia and the Eagles team doing what they did last night.
There you go.
I mean, the 13 games we played in have a little hand in that. It's frustrating, considering that to start out this season, the hashtag "This is our year" was something I started on Twitter.
Super Bowl run.
Yeah, we're all excited about it. Writing in our draft articles preseason that we'd have the 32nd pick in the 2013 draft.
Oh boy, here we go.
Really not looking that way at this point. It's been a season of disaster in so many ways.
We might have the 23rd.
It's entirely
8
impossible. Entirely impossible.
And earlier I was trying to make a joke, guys. I mean, we put all the blame on Norv and AJ and everything else. I'm blaming the Eagles, okay? I don't want to bring up Norv and AJ one time on this damn show today, okay? And that's the way it's going to be. Eagles, it was your fault. You screwed up our whole year.
So we got Carolina coming into town, and Cam Newton, obviously a tough cat to round up.
Meow.
How do you guys feel that we're going to hold up against Cam?
Considering we're missing guys like Donald Butler, looks like Williams is going to be out.
Heart and soul.
I mean, it's going to be tough. Pagano's going to have to really be on top of the scheme as far as trying to make sure we have quarterback spies, whether it be at the linebacker position,
right,
or perhaps even a Kendall Reyes who can actually not run with Cam Newton, but can actually run and make plays outside the pocket if Cam does start to scramble or tries to get out of the pocket and upfield. It's going to be tough. I think this is one of those challenges to where it's more important that we contain him because I don't believe that we're going to stop him. If you have Cam on your fantasy football team, I would suggest you might consider starting him.
Well, with the devastating with the injuries, with the injuries, man, you have to look at it that way. But it's also a chance for the younger players to step up now.
Right.
I mean, Melvin Ingram, it's your time to shine, bro. 4 games left. Let's make the most of it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Kendall Reyes, let's make the most. You're out of the University of Connecticut. You're second round draft pick. Let's go. Brandon Taylor, you're a 3rd round draft pick.
Jonas Mouton.
Let's
see him get in there. You know, he finally got his first game action last week.
Yeah, exactly.
And he actually, he laid the wood on a couple guys. He made some hits, and I was impressed with him, and I liked him out of Michigan. But the coaches obviously aren't seeing something in him that we would like to see, or he would have been in there playing games. Brandon Taylor, I'm glad you brought him up. It's good to see him in there. There was a lot of speculation that he could perhaps be somebody who could step in and kind of fight for that starting strong safety job.
Right.
Hasn't been the case. Another guy that's been inactive more often than not.
Yeah.
This is a chance. And again, look at Gilchrist and Sharice Wright as well. really like to see them step up. And Gilchrist has looked fantastic the last couple of weeks.
You look fantastic.
And that's a fact, people. And I hope the camera brings out the color of my eyes. Hold on. This powder blue.
Go ahead, brush your shoulders off. Yeah.
Sorry.
Pardon me.
Just have to bring you some, rookie action your way.
And I was ready for it because I expect it because we do have the peanut gallery over here.
Right. And as we know, there's nobody watching the show right now because it's Friday night.
It's Friday night.
They're out mingling around, and we're doing our lightning session here.
If you guys are watching the show,
incentives.
We have some incentives for you. We have
absolutely.
What do we got here? We got Corey Legit,
cards.
Autograph card, Marcus Gilchrist, Marion Butts.
Yes.
We got Stan Humphreys.
Show the camera.
And we got Natron Means.
Flash them like they're money.
All right here for you.
Dude, that's Stan the Man's looking
all right
precious.
Here.
Stan the Man.
619-387-3452. Let your voice be heard and get a chance to win one of these signed cards that you can put on your mantle and tell you got it from us.
Yeah, let's chat some football, guys.
Call
Give us a call.
in.
Yeah.
Give it a call.
Win some prizes.
So the good thing is that the Chargers are not laying down. As bad as the season's gone, as much injuries as we've gone through, the Chargers, especially the defense, is not laying down. What are some key things that you guys did see this year, moving into next year that we could be excited about?
Well, for me, I mean, guys like Spikes and possibly even Jammer and even Kason possibly aren't going to be here next year. But what stood out to me is Kendall Reyes. In the times that he is in the game, he is making plays. He's effective. He's getting after the quarterback. He's on the other side of the line of scrimmage, living in the backfield, and that's what you want to see out of a guy who was a second-round draft pick. Melvin Ingram, he's the leader in almost plays. He's there almost every play.
Always around the ball.
On there, but
always around the ball.
He's
I
not,
like that
he's not
stat.
putting up the. I don't.
Almost doesn't count.
I don't.
Horseshoes and hand
Skinny
grenades.
doesn't. I do know that I owe you $100 for the 6.5 sack bet we had in the preseason. It looks like
I thought it was
going to
be
having
10,
to pay
dude.
up.
I'm not kidding.
He put the line at 6, over under 6, and I took the over.
Those
and,
YouTube videos got me
coming your way.
excited. Dude, those YouTube videos got me excited.
Absolutely, he looked great. But the youth of our defense, coupled with the emergence of Donald Butler, who has come out and been really strong. I mean, he other than Weddle, he's the strongest defender we have on our team. Constantly making plays, and I think that if Pagano can continue to call plays like he did against Pittsburgh, you're going to be looking at a top 5 defense.
And that's the thing. I'll totally agree with you. I think it's the defense, defensive side of the ball. Has the most upside, and we've talked about it so many times on the show. That's the one thing we've watched, and we're like, cool, man, this is gradually getting better. We've got some young guys that can step in spot starts or whatever have you. You got Takeo Spikes as a veteran there. Donald Butler's in his 3rd or 4th year now. You got some guys that are in place, and especially Sean Phillips. He can help the younger guys.
Tari
Bigby. There's some veteran presences on this team to where you're like, cool. We have some guys mentoring these young guys to get after the quarterback, doing their thing that you used to do in college, tricks of the trade, what have you. But that's the best and most exciting part going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's a foundation that's been laid by the youngsters that we have on the team.
Definitely.
With the leadership from some of the veterans that, is going to carry on into next year and hopefully for years to come.
Definitely.
And we shore up a couple positions in there. I'm not a big fan of the Big B's performance, to be honest with you guys. The guy loves to hit. He just doesn't like to wrap up and tackle, and that's frustrating as somebody who, when I played, I'd just like to hit.
He bounces off people a lot, doesn't he?
Well, and along with the ball bouncing off his hands on interceptions.
Yeah.
So do you see him in the starting role next year? Do you see Brandon Taylor pushing, or is there going to be some unknown coming in to take that spot up?
If I was the GM, the way I would address it is I'd let Big B go hang out at Ja Rastafari University, and I'd hope by all alone, and hopefully try to get Taylor to step up his game, or perhaps address it in free agency, or maybe even if necessary in the draft. Around round 2 or 3.
Right. Because we have to remember he was a leading tackler when he got hurt, right?
Right.
And that's not because he was up at the line every play.
Yeah.
That's because we got burnt through the middle of our defense, and he had made, which I do like about him. He does hit at times, but when he does hit, he delivers a big blow. I mean, he can knock a guy out with any one hit.
Well, I know, and coming in here, it's not like he was the guy that was going to lead the team in interceptions.
No.
He was going to make the big play in the secondary. He was known as a run stuffer.
Right.
When they brought him in, the whole deal was stuffing the run, and that's why we've been so good at stuffing the run is because of his presence and being able to hit the gaps.
Yeah, veteran presence has been a key.
Now,
for us
like
this
you
year.
talked about last week with maybe Nnamdi Asamoah, if we make a free agent pickup like that, maybe they think about Quentin Jammer, at least giving him a shot in the preseason and see what he can do back there.
I again, we've talked about this a couple different times. For me, I think it would be, I don't want to say a seamless transition, but I think that his skill set fits strong safety to a T.
Right.
And he can obviously hit. He's great in run support. We all know he's lost a little bit of speed, and he hasn't lost any physicality, and it's something that I would like to see him try to move over to the strong safety position. Norv has said that it's something that's not going to happen, but it's not going to matter what Norv says for much longer.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Well, hey, dude, with Jammer, though, for real quick, I can't see him staying another year. I don't see him staying another year because, like you said, I mean, if we do try to move him, I don't know how. Like you said, that the transition to that position isn't easy.
No, it's not. And you see a lot of people use examples of like Ronnie Lott and Deion Sanders and Rod Woodson. Those are some of the greatest players of all time.
And the biggest hitters.
Exactly. And that wrapped up.
And that were healthy. They stayed healthy for some reason. I don't know how, but it's just one of those things.
I don't see him staying with the Chargers next season unless he does try to make an effort or the team coaxes him into trying to play strong safety. As much respect as I have for him and all the good years that he's given us, I would agree with you and have to say he's probably gone.
Do you think he might play a nickel spot? I mean, do you think he could, or do you think
he can't keep up with those slot guys? Those slot guys are
faster.
than most of the
That's what I was saying.
Guys.
Maybe
the quick twitch,
maybe a different
short slant.
Maybe like a fourth down. It just wouldn't work. That's
not
the
for
whole
the
thing.
money he would want.
Yeah,
even at the minimum of what he would be offered by the team, and just wouldn't pay out.
And those slot receivers, in my opinion, it's a lot of gambling in a way. You almost got to try to anticipate and jump the route.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because those are the hardest routes to cover.
Well, in that respect, that could be one of his strong suits because he's a savvy veteran player, but I don't like the way he matches up with those guys inside. I like the support that he would bring if somebody lined up in a 3-wide and actually ran out of that because he'd be able to break on the ball and with the heady plays that he makes, he'd be able to get in there and hopefully make a play on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, could you imagine him covering Wes Welker? I mean, come on.
Oh boy.
I mean, really. I mean, we got to be realistic.
If that was the case, start Wes Welker in your fantasy football league.
Right. And that's just a prime example, like you said. It's the slot guy, and
so
it's
you're
probably
saying
not going to work
16 for 180 yards for Welker?
I think that's being
4 touchdowns.
About I was gonna say get the 4 touchdowns, get the 4 6s in there. We're ready to go.
That'd be
then
a
it's
career
more
day.
realistic. Yeah.
So interesting that Ron Rivera is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. What do you guys think his influence of knowing the Chargers systems, knowing what the offense does, having a good idea what the defense is going to do, is that going to have any influence on the outcome of this game?
Well, for me, I think looking over, across the field is going to be a coach that had been here 3 years. I think he was here a defensive coordinator 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, 3.
Okay, he really knows what's going on offensively with the Chargers. It wasn't like he was Minuski and he was here one and done. I think Rivera has a little more insight than most would. I'm sure he's
not like Norv's playbook has changed since then. He's still run the same place since 1989.
I think he has a little more knowledge about what's going on. I think he can coach up his players a little bit to what's going on in the game plan. What would you say?
No, I mean it's going to help out, and it's up to Norv to get his game plan in hand, knowing that Rivera is going to be able to pick up on certain things. Hopefully the signals have changed so that he's not able to see the same things that he did see when he was in practice. Coaching up the defense against our offense.
You would have to expect that. I mean,
I think Rob Chudzinski, actually, the offensive coordinator there for Carolina. I think he's going to be able to add quite a bit of insight into what the Chargers offense is going to do, which is in turn going to help out the Carolina defense as well. So, I mean, both those connections are going to have something to do with the outcome of the game. It's up, I hate to say it this way, it's up to Norv to come up with something to make sure that it doesn't become the undoing of the team in this game on Sunday.
Interesting tidbit. Norv's brother's on the opposite sideline.
Scott Turner.
What does he do? I heard that today, and I had no idea what what is he?
I think he's a quality control coach or some type of an assistant.
Ball boy, or
so him and Norv have a lot in common, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
they don't do a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, just different job titles at this point.
They try to give game day speeches, but this doesn't work out.
Yeah. The speech that they had on Chargers.com, and everyone check this out. And it was 30 seconds of a clip, and it had Norv saying 3 words. You couldn't hear the rest. He gives a high five to Kevin Haslam and Reggie Wells, who got game balls for that game, which I thought was great because they did a commendable job against the number 1 defense in the league, being Pittsburgh. But
talk about keeping the glue together.
They
did a great job. They really did.
Makeshift is absolutely correct. I mean, half those guys, were coming off the couch.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And
Where
in
was
there,
Haslam last week?
Haslam's been on the practice squad.
That's right.
He played some left, and he's a guy that could possibly stick. Former San Diego State Aztec. That would be my biggest concern. Is I don't necessarily see another Pittsburgh-like game for the rest of the season. In a sense that everything's going to kind of go our way, where we have the butt fumble into the end zone. And
that was awesome.
I mean, who calls a backward pass inside their own 10? That Todd Haley. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin didn't call that.
Hey, come back to Kansas City. We miss you, please.
Boy. No, we don't. Right? We already beat the Chiefs.
We'd like to play the Chiefs
on the
16
Steelers,
times, please.
Goodness gracious.
But there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to seeing in this game. And, I came from 14 minutes from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte to come see the Chargers.
That's what I was saying. What are you traveling with your team, bro?
Yeah,
what's going on?
I'm a closet Panthers fan.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm sorry.
I bet you go to every home game.
Hopefully that's the only thing in your closet.
Well, honey, I wanted to wait till I got here to San Diego to do this.
Yeah, right.
I'm just playing.
So, obviously, we got a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries.
12 guys on IR.
And now we got DeMario Williams out and Ronnie Brown. My biggest thing is Ronnie Brown. I mean, who's going to fill that role? I mean, obviously, Ryan Matthews, we want him to shoulder the load. We want him to be that guy. But can he be that guy? And if he can't, who's going to step in that role?
We brought Curtis Brinkley back onto the team after we IR'd our 75th player of the season. So, I mean, I would expect him to pick up some of the slack. Right. But I think this is it's not a possibility that I would like to come to this head, but this forces Norv and Ryan Matthews to kind of show what we can do with Ryan. Right. And have him kind of be in there on plays that they haven't necessarily trusted him on, whether it's third down, whether it's in passing packages to where he has to stay in there to block. At this point, like you said, after the Bengals kind of put our meager hopes to a playoff run to sleep, I can't see a better time than now to go ahead and see what he's capable of doing.
I think it wouldn't be unrealistic to see 26 to 30 carries for Ryan Matthews Sunday.
I would like to see that. I don't see it happening. 26 touches total.
Maybe touches
out of the backfield
to
absolutely.
Compensate for Ronnie Brown's missing catches, which he's 70 passes this year he's caught. So
second on the team in catches.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's more than two of our stud receivers that they brought in the free agent market.
So knowing the injuries, let's go from a fantasy standpoint. Would you start Ryan Matthews, knowing that he's going to get more touches?
I would, because I think he's going to have a big day. Personally, that's just me. I think he's going to have a big day against Carolina's D. I don't know why I feel like that, but it seems like when the ball's in his court, he delivers. I don't know why. There's times where I'm like, yeah, he's not going to have a good day, and he just shows me up. And this is one of those weird feelings I'm having. I think he has a good day at the Q. I think he scores twice, and I think he has about 100 yards. I don't know why. I just feel it.
If you're going to start him as your flex. He's on one of my playoff teams right now, and I've got him in as my flex, and he's averaging about 6.2 points in an ESPN league that I've got. Really like to see him step it up, and I agree with you. I think he's going to have a big game. As long as it jives with Norv's plan to get him more involved in situations that they haven't felt comfortable with him in the past.
Can you answer this too? I was going to ask you. I mean, what your opinion is on it. Why don't they line Ryan up in the slot more, or more conducive to it? I don't see it very often.
Break him out in the 5 wide.
Kind of like LT. We have a call coming in, but kind of like LT was. But LT was much better pass catcher.
We've done that, but he's not even a part of the read progression.
Right.
I mean, he does get flanked out, but he's really not a part of the play. It's not anything they look forward to using.
We got a caller on the phone here. Caller, what's your name? And welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies.
Hello.
It's It's Bolt Fan 1972, Sam.
What's up, Sam?
Sam
What up,
McCraney,
Sam?
what's up, buddy?
What do you got for us, bud?
Since y'all trashing the Chargers so far and all our disappointing moments this season, why don't y'all just go on and talk about all them players that they can pick up on the street for no money, and then they pay people like Eddie Royal and Robert Meacham all this money, and
you're exactly right, bro.
And
absolutely,
people keep saying AJ don't need to go.
Yeah, that all falls on AJ. I strongly feel that way too. I think most Charger fans are very disgusted with the decision making and the guys he's brought in. It's like you had said. He's buying the groceries.
Yeah.
For Norv. You can't blame it all on Norv, but you can blame a lot of it on Norv. But
absolutely.
AJ's buying the groceries, right?
Well, and you look at Gaither, Meacham, Royal, guys that we spent a lot of money on, and then like Sam's talking about, guys that we've brought in off the street. Denario Alexander, I mean, how lucky did we get with that? If that guy stays healthy, he's a restricted free agent next season.
How many knee surgeries?
5.
Ouch.
So that's obviously an issue. So somebody had brought up on Twitter the other day about how it was a little reminiscent of the Gaither signing,
right.
In that we bring in Gaither last year and he shines for 6 games. Phillip hardly gets touched, then this year we have a 6'9", 360 full body spasm, and groin injury.
He's
and
a giant blob.
Injury. Yeah. So I mean. Let's hope that Alexander stays healthy, but as far as guys that we can bring in off the street or guys that we have brought in, Alexander and Spurlock, that AJ does tend to get a little bit lucky when it comes to that. Now, as far as the decisions,
he hits a home run once in a while.
Absolutely. Is the decisions on Meacham, Royal, Gaither again? We bombed those. They were pretty poor to say the least.
Well, and you got to look at this too, Sam. If you're still there. It's not even just free agents. He's bombed on draft picks. He's wasting number 1 draft picks. I mean, you have to look at some of these guys, the Larry Englishes of the world, Buster Davis, which literally was a bust, and we can all make fun of that. But it's just bad decision making on draft day. That too has been a real eyesore. I mean, those things stand out. They'll be carried with him the rest of his career if he goes on to GM somewhere else. They're gonna bring that up in a meeting and go, hey, what happened here in this draft? Yeah. What happened in this draft? And you missed on 3 drafts, dude. What you're making this team, you're running it into the ground. Hey, you have to replenish,
Hey Sam, you still there, buddy?
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you could pick out of the season that was a bright spot to you, what would that be?
I'd have to say Denario Alexander, because he just came in off the street. We got him for almost nothing, and he looks like Vincent Jackson, except
the 2.0.
Absolutely.
Faster.
There you go. No, what I love about him is Phillip has this rapport with him already. He can go to the back of the end zone and he throws it, shoulder side, and he just makes that flip reverse like VJ used to do.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
That's what we're missing.
Exactly.
He shields the defender, he engulfs the ball, and it's a touchdown.
Even Spurlock, as small as he is, and he doesn't have the size of Floyd or Alexander, but he's very physical. He'll come back to the ball, is where Royal and Meacham won't.
Right.
Yeah, it makes those 2 signings that much more piss poor, if you will, considering they've had all of OTAs, mini camps, training camps to work with Phillip. And then we bring in Spurlock, who was there for the preseason. But he takes a little vacation to Jacksonville, gets waived. We bring him in. He has 7 catches. 5 of those catches were on 3rd down that were converted into first downs.
Yep.
The Meacham and Royal thing stinks the more and more we talk about it and get in depth about it.
Let me flip the script a minute. Like, say Meacham, Royal, and Spurlock were on the Patriots. And disregard the injuries. Say they were healthy. What kind of year would they be having? I mean, honest opinion. In the scheme that they run, honest opinion.
I'd say that because the offensive line in New England is quite a bit better than what we have in San Diego currently. I think that they'd be having decent years. I don't think we really see anything different from Eddie Royal because I don't think he'd be playing.
Right.
Because his injuries are,
they're nagging.
The tactile kind of nagging hamstring, a groin, etc.
But if he was healthy, you think he'd be contributing?
600-700 yard season maybe?
For Royal, I don't think so. For Robert Meacham, I do because of his speed. Line him up, have him come in and fill in for a Brandon Lloyd type player that they use that strictly is running that 9 route to stretch the field. I think that's where he would come into play. I think Spurlock would have a great year with anybody, a considerably decent year, I guess I should say.
Right.
I was really surprised to see that Jacksonville let him go.
Sam, what's your opinion, bud?
I don't know, because I think maybe New Orleans was on something, and they just sprinkled.
You could be right, man.
Wow.
You could be right. That's an interesting take on it.
That's why they let him go.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case or not, but maybe they did. Maybe something wasn't working there, and they just cut ties and they said, "We're done with you, bro." And who knows? Who knows what the case is? But we sure did gobble them up real quick,
Yeah.
Sam, really appreciate your call. If you want to hang on, want to get your information, and you got an opportunity to win some signed Charger cards.
All right.
I appreciate your call, man.
Thanks, Sam.
Please
You're
feel
the man,
free to
Sam.
call
Thanks,
in, man.
buddy.
This is a show for fans, by the fans. We want to keep hearing your voice, all right?
All right.
Thanks, bro.
So, as far as our receivers go, what do you think, as far as Vincent Brown, as far as Malcolm Floyd, as far as Alexander, who's going to be the mainstays next year, or is there a wild card?
I don't envision even a new coaching staff unless they have it's a guy who's coming from another team that has a favorite kind of a wide receiver that we could be had on the cheap. I really think as long as we re-sign Denario Alexander, the rapport that him and Phillip have built up in such a short amount of time is, again, barring any injury, I think it's only something that could grow. And when you line up 6'5" Denario Alexander on one side, 6'5" Floyd on the other side.
Vincent Jackson, Malcolm Floyd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Gates, I know a lot of people are done on Gates. I'm not done on you, Gates. We just need to give Phillip some time, man.
No way.
Your route progressions take time to develop, and we're with you, buddy. I am anyway, for sure.
I'm totally with him. I'm never going to give up on the guy until he's in a wheelchair.
Well, and then add Vincent Brown to the slot on that.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean,
this
that's
is
deadly.
This is a receiving core that could be astounding next year. I mean, to say the least.
Yeah.
With a healthy line, with new line, we need to replace some parts.
4 out of 5 most likely.
We got to give him
3
some
out of
time
5
to throw
at
the
least.
football, right? And you can put some of that on Rivers, whatever. But line needs to be addressed. But if we give them time, Denario Alexander, Malcolm Floyd, Vincent Brown, I mean, these guys are studs. And if you use Spurlock the right way in third downs like we have been, and he's getting first downs for us, that's the kind of stuff you need to be doing. You need to put these guys in the right position to make plays, and that falls on coaching, and that falls on the offensive coordinator, which for the most part is Norv Turner.
Is Norv, yeah.
And that's the thing. That's for me. We have the receiving core to make things happen, and then you sprinkle in Gates and McMichael and kid out of Ladarius Green.
Ladarius Green.
Yeah. The kid, I love that kid. I wish he'd play more. There's a lot of uplifting things about the receiving core to be happy and excited about. Mm-hmm. We just haven't seen it because of the protection and other things that we need to address first. So
right.
And running the football. We haven't been running the football well. So that hampers the passing game as well. So
we got another call coming in.
All right.
While we're waiting for that call,
it was back to the bill collector.
Yeah, back to the right. Double D05. You got San Diego Sports Junkies. What's going on, man?
What's happening, guys?
What's going on, man? What's
up,
your
buddy?
question?
Hey, so I'm not ever going to be the guy that's going to give up on our starting quarterback.
No.
However, I just wanted to ask you guys your opinion on when's going to be the best time for our team to draft the new up-and-comer as far as a rookie quarterback to learn behind Phillip Rivers.
Next
Obviously,
year.
you guys understand the importance of somebody to train behind an experienced veteran, and I just want to see what you guys' take was on that.
Well, personally, if it's not this year, it's next year for sure. But if they can find something that's serviceable in the third, fourth round, I'm thinking
a shot at it.
They could take a shot at it. Right?
I agree with you. I think we have to immediately address the backup quarterback position and have it be somebody that can actually push Phillip a little bit. Something has to kick him in the ass because it's like, he's very complacent back there. And I'm not saying that's because that's why he's playing so terribly, but he is complacent, guys, and he has no worry in the world about clipboard Jesus on the right side of him. He's not worried about him.
No, and I understand, and great question, by the way, 005. For me, I've looked at this upcoming draft class, and, we don't know about the juniors that are going to declare, but I'm not a big fan of any of the players that are coming out, even in a mode of trying to develop them behind Phillip Rivers. It's my opinion that although it's extremely important to have that guy that pushes Phillip Rivers or any starting quarterback, I would like to see Phillip given one more year with a true real life offensive line. And perhaps look to the 2014 draft, or perhaps even an upcoming free agent as far as someone who could kind of push the envelope and force
Alex
Phillip to. Well, that's not a terrible name to bring out there.
Well, it's not, but here's the thing, like we talked about last week, the only question mark is who's going to be the head coach.
Right.
Because if the head coach coming in
different philosophies
wants more of a mobile quarterback, they're going to throw somebody in there, or they may go earlier in the draft. As much as we need offensive line, they might be able to pick that up elsewhere or get that in free agency, and they might be able to get a quarterback in the first couple rounds that would fit their style of offense.
Yeah, I think they need to play the wait and see game. See what happens. See what transpires at the end of this season.
Yeah.
See what contracts are up. Like Booga said, I mean, personally, for me, I think it's next year. You got to get somebody in here. Maybe that's not okay. Obviously, you're going to get a first-round quarterback. But you bring in a guy that's had a stud year at a university with some size, good in the pocket,
Definitely
works around the offense. He plays a pro-style offense. You get somebody like that, I would be okay with maybe to push Phillip a little bit. Just give him a little push in the ass. That's it.
Right. Well, I mean, you were talking about a difference in philosophies as far as a new head coach coming in. For example, if a Chip Kelly were to come in, the style of offense he runs, not really conducive to
sign Michael
Phillip Rivers coming in and trying to be mobile and running around and getting things done.
So from Twitterland, Sam the Iceman wants to ask Justin and Dave, what's Phillip going to teach a backup how to throw a pick?
But boom.
Like, dude.
Who took my symbol?
God.
Ouch, that's tough.
Bash Rivers night, huh?
Thanks again to WDO5 for your call. We'll put you in the raffle for some Charger cards. Again, guys, 619-387-3452. We got Corey Leggett, we got Marcus Gilchrist, Marion Butts, and Stan the Man Humphreys signed cards to be handing out. So please call in. We'll put you in the raffle for these cards, and we'd love to hear what you guys want to talk about Chargers. We have another question from Twitterland from Zeke_Stone22. He says, which Charger player is nicknamed Clipboard Jesus?
Charlie friggin' Whitehurst.
Who's that guy?
I think it's Babe Laufenberg. He was a Charger before you were born, Zeke.
Steve Largent?
Flutie Flake.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. Zeke, you win.
Yeah.
Clipboard Jesus.
All you got to do is look over in the sideline, the guy with the longest hair. Well, no, that probably
the one who looks like Barry
now.
Gibb.
Yeah, but
the Bee Gees.
That's Charlie Whitehurst, man, from Clemson. He's been in the league, what's it, like 6th year, 7th year?
Yeah. We've decided to bring him back to hold the clipboard, and he's doing a hell of a job.
Him and Norv get along great on the sideline. I love their chemistry on the sideline.
Yeah, absolutely. It's conducive to winning.
It is very conducive to winning. I mean, I'm sure they share tacos after work and all
fish
that
tacos.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Here in San Diego. Right. Greatest fish tacos in the land. Write it down.
So, obviously, we have a pretty good feeling that there's going to be a new head coach, possibly a new GM coming in. Besides the O-line, we know there's work that needs to be done there. Besides the O-line, what other positions need to be addressed with our new head coach and or GM coming into next season?
Defensively, we've got Kason and Jammer in the last year of their contracts. You got Sean Phillips, who's at the end of his deal as well. This is his last season. I'd like to see a strong safety come in that isn't Atari Bigby. We're possibly going to have to look to replace Spikes in the middle as well, because, I mean, we all know Spikes is 147 million years old. I mean, he's an old guy. It's about time that we might have to look on from him, despite the fact that he has another year on his contract.
And he's on pace for 2,000 games.
It's yes, literally. I think he broke that benchmark back in 1984. But and also, if you look at to the offensive side, not speaking about the offensive line, I'd like to see a change of pace, kind of third down back kind of a guy, and I'm not saying a Sproles type, because there's one Darren Sproles. Thank you, AJ, for letting him get away. I truly appreciate it. We need that kind of a guy. Yeah, another great guy to let walk on and go play for a Super Bowl or an opportunity to. So those are the positions that I'd kind of like to see. And so a lot of people would like to address tight end as well. and I guess I have my hopes high on Ladarius Green. Extremely athletic, 6'6", runs semi like a wide receiver.
A gazelle.
Would like to see what he can do in our offense and see if he can build a rapport with Phillip. But those are the, again, aside from O-line, those are the holes that I'd kind of like to see patched up or worked on. I love our defensive line. Our defensive line,
young and old, it's great.
It is. Well,
it's a good
Abreu
mixture.
Franklin was probably our best free agent pickup.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's a complete stud.
He beat out
Cam, Garay.
But he beat out Garay to play.
Garay was a healthy scratch for more games than I'd like to admit. I was pretty high on Garay, like Atari Bigby is on certain amenities. But it wasn't what I wanted to see happen. In the preseason, I thought that Garay was going to be somebody who'd step in, and then, like I said, he was a healthy scratch for 5 games.
Right.
He was available, and we still had other guys in that they were putting in that spot.
Yeah, that's true.
Quick shout-outs, guys, to the chat room. We got Bolts Fan 1972 hanging out.
Sam.
Jen Fabulous. I think that's my cousin Jen, so kudos to you in Menifee, California.
No, that's Jen Fabulous who's going to the game with us on
Sorry,
Sunday.
that might not be my
Jen,
cousin,
baby?
Sorry, apologize about that. And we got J.E. Eidsmo. Are you just hanging out? Cool. Shout out to you,
Thanks
too.
to the producer for joining in on the fun this evening. It's much appreciated. You, too, will win an autographed card.
Exactly. No, he will. Double 05 is in there. And we also want to remind you guys, too, any of your questions in the chat room will be pretty much aired on this show. If you guys want to leave something, we can get to it, we get to it. If not, like the tail end of the show, probably not going to get to it. But if you're like midway through right now, we'll get to your question.
Give it a shot, guys.
Hopes Booga found a new coach on the plane today. That's what 005 said. Nice.
I did some recruiting. I didn't find any viable options, but I did meet this guy from Microsoft, and he seems like kind of an innovative guy.
Right.
He talked about playing Madden, and if you play Madden, there's a chance that you might be able to draw some stuff up on the field that's Norvesque. We ought to give him a shot, I think.
There you go. No, we had another comment too. 005, the chat room says, as a season ticket holder, it offends me that the Chargers are using Groupon at face value plus credit at the concession stands.
And it's funny.
Couldn't the team think of any other ideas to draw people to the stadium?
The funny thing is, we had 11,000 tickets to be sold. 11,000.
And that's unquoted. That's sold. Probably.
And
that doesn't include club seating, guys.
They were talking to this on 1090 on the way over here. There is season ticket holders. There's people that have bought these tickets a long time ago to come see this game. Let's be honest, Cam Newton is somewhat of a draw.
Absolutely.
He's an exciting player to watch. And they were saying, well, what about the rest of the guys? Why don't you just open up the parking lot for free parking for everybody? It's like, why are you going after these people that waited till the last minute to buy tickets? What about the people that spent their money, 4 months ago?
It's kind of like the whole season. It's too little, too late. And now they're just kind of drawing ideas out of a hat and trying to see what they can come up with. It is offensive to me as well. I kind of thought it was a joke when I saw the article printed by my editor on BoogaP. Chargers resort to Groupon to sell tickets. Don't get me wrong, Groupon's a great deal. A lot of things that the offers that they have up there. But for our Chargers to have to kind of resort to that as a last-ditch effort to make money for the stadium and for themselves, it's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, as far as the fans goes, what is or should be our fans' expectations going into next season?
Wow,
good question.
A lot of that depends on who we bring in, and let's hope that the first expectation we can have is that we have actually brought in a new head coach. Mm-hmm. We have brought in a new GM, and that I'd like to see a name. As much as I'd like, there's a lot of people throwing around the name David Shaw from Stanford. Exciting thing.
Young Guppies.
I kind of like the idea of him, but I'd like to see something that excites the fan base again. Yeah. San Diego fans, we having this kind of rumor going around about us that we're the worst fans in professional sports, and it's kind of been a goal of mine to turn that around.
They've never been
the
to
team
VA
isn't
House.
helping me with that, so to speak.
Well, and it's funny you say that. Before you chime in, there's a guy on 1090 again when I was running over here that was telling XX 1090 here in San Diego that they've owned the team for 28 years.
Yeah,
we've we've had only 10 winning seasons.
I know, and that's
and we're still loyal and we're still there for the team. So to say the Chargers fans aren't loyal or aren't there for the team is kind of ridiculous when you put it into perspective.
Frustrating. Sounds like we got a call. Jen Fabulous?
Jen Fabulous is online. Welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies. What do you want to talk about?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hey, Jen. Just so you know,
Hey,
I've got John Hambrick, Cali Caliente, and Greg Williams here in studio with us right now.
I'm looking at them.
They're right in front of us.
They're flipping me off.
What? Awesome.
Dude,
Yeah.
put your
I'm
pants
stuck
back
at
on,
work.
man. That's not cool.
I
That is
know.
not cool, bro.
I'm
You can't be
stuck at work
streaking.
until 11 o'clock.
Well, that's not
You're
fun.
at work until 11. Well, that's no fun. Thanks for taking the time to
Yes.
call in. You know we appreciate it.
You missed out on the pole dancing.
Yeah.
So, what I wanted to say is that before the season even started, there was a lot of talk about if the Chargers want to stay in San Diego, we
Ooh.
need to win a championship. And, yeah, that's not happening.
No.
No,
No.
it does not appear to be the case. You're right.
So, do you think it'll happen that they're going to move soon?
Wow.
For me personally, I don't think it's happening at all. I think two other teams are coming, and I think it's going to be the Raiders and the Rams. That's just my personal thought from what I read and what I hear. I've done a little investigation on it too. I know as much as anybody else of what you read and stuff, but I don't see the Chargers leaving. I don't think Dean Spanos wants to leave, and I really strongly feel that. He does want to stay in San Diego, and he does want a new stadium, but with this new mayor, a lot of issues are come up. He doesn't want to use taxpayer money. So we are kind of screwed at this point in time, and really we don't have anything concrete on a ballot yet. So we have no idea, but we're definitely not going to move. That's just my opinion.
Well, that and they said that, it's just financially it doesn't make sense for whoever's owner moves their team to LA because they're going to have to give up some of their money to these investment companies.
some of their ownership.
Absolutely.
Spanos would, I don't know if it
He
even
doesn't
have
wanna
to
do
be the
that.
majority, but he'd have to give up a big chunk of his ownership for it
ain't
to
gonna
be,
happen.
for that move to LA
Right.
to happen.
No.
I'll just say this. I'm not sure whether it'll happen or not. You hear a lot of different things and people going back and forth, and the banner at times has been they're going to go. They'll be going next
Right.
season, this and that and the other. All I'll say is I really, really hope they don't.
Yeah. I strongly feel that
Great
they won't.
question, Jen.
That is a good question. And thanks for taking time out of your busy work schedule to call in there. Are you on your lunch break? Oh, okay.
She would.
Well, that was a great call.
Hey, thank you, Jen.
Jen, you are fabulous, by the way.
Hey, her boss
No
was
pun
probably
intended.
her boss was probably yelling at her, "Get back to work."
Her boss probably hung up the phone for her.
Yes, you're
So-
fired.
So, Lord of the Gregs
of the what?
wants to know, speaking of guys who need to be fired, Chargers PR guy, Groupon Chill Pill.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chill pill.
Ow. Zinger.
That's great.
That was awesome.
That stings the nostrils. That stings the nostrils. Hey, when this all blows over, guys, I want to get an
You know how
apartment with
great
you
it
guys.
is? We're practically speechless. That's
now,
how great
brown
it is.
cow.
Yeah.
We're practically speechless. That's how great that is.
No, I mean,
Unique New York.
it's
Hey, is this thing on?
Oh man.
Hello.
Mom, you listening?
I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
And you ate the whole wheel of cheese?
And you pooped in the refrigerator?
In a glass case? Okay, here we go again.
Yes, all right.
No, hey, real quick, I think that he deserves to be fired just as much as North and AJ. I mean, and what made it even worse is after the whole Chill Pill incident and him coming out and claiming that all the fans need to calm down and support their team, we went on to lose 4 more games.
Well, it's not like that.
mean-
It's not just him. It's like the people that are in charge of trying to get, butts in the seats. Obviously, we want to see a winning product.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to get people in the seats, not to tell them to take a chill pill, not
Right.
to put these
Yeah, you don't-
Groupon tickets online and piss off the rest of your season
Yeah.
ticket holders. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's some things you
there's
just
other
don't
ways.
say.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
say that in a release,
No.
a press release. You
Well,
don't
and then,
say that.
Then his effort to kind of recant the story or to kind of pseudo-apologize, if you will, all that did is make it worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then they're going, look at this moron.
don't take a leak on me and tell me it's raining.
Yeah,
I mean,
retract
come on,
my
people.
statement. Yeah.
I mean, it was pathetic. And it was, to me, is his bosses or the people that are in charge of him that saw that copy
Oh, man.
And before it was released, and I'm assuming he has somebody he answers to that at least edits his information or his pieces, say, oh, that's a great idea. Tell the fans to take a chill pill. The fan base already is disgruntled enough.
Tell him to take a chill pill.
Yeah. How are your chill pills
Bill
going
Johnston,
down, Bill?
Right?
Yes,
Bill Johnston.
Yeah.
You can go take a chill pill and jump off the Coronado Bridge, too, while you're at it. Because we're angry.
Cement shoes.
We're angry Charger fans, and you riled us
up. And we ran out of chill pills.
Yeah. We took the whole bottle.
Hello.
During the Denver game.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Goodness
gracious.
So,
FU of the day.
Great tweet.
Yeah, great tweet.
Thank you, Lord of the Gregs.
Lord of the Gregs. And if you guys stay in, seriously, after this show is over, we're going to have a preview of the new up-and-coming movie, Lord of the Gregs, starring
Greg Williams. I mean, I've heard it's going to be a blockbuster. Quentin Tarantino's directing it and co-starring the late, great Sam Kinison from Beyond.
As long as Charlie Sheen's in there, I'm watching.
Oh, because he's winning, so of course he will be.
So, for all of you that don't know, Booga comes from North Carolina. Talk about Die Hard. And what we love about the show is we get people all over the United States calling in. It's not a lot of San Diego fans. We get people from Phoenix, people from Tucson, Arizona. We get Booga from North Carolina. We get people from Pittsburgh. We have a fan that's in London. We have another fan that's in the UK. And that's just to name a few. But, to make the trip out of here, it's got to be a chore, for the fact that
financially
you're paying quite a bit of money to come see a team that's not playing very well.
Right. Yeah.
And two, I mean, there's a lot of people out here that really, look to you as far as, friendship and otherwise.
Info.
And
good info.
You got to be spread kind of thin.
Yeah.
It was a long flight. You'd take the flight from Charlotte to Phoenix, and then, I meet up with my friend Greg Williams in Phoenix, and then we fly to San Diego and getting tweets out for the show and still trying to keep my articles rolling for Bolt Beat. And I'm a little on the tired side, but, I mean, we got a lot of exciting things coming up. Tomorrow I have my interview with Kevin Acey of the San Diego Union-Tribune. If you guys have any questions for that interview, and we deem it a good or great question, if you will, send it into through the chat room or to @LBHost on Twitter. And if we find it to be an appropriate one, by the way, but if we find it to be a good one, I'd be more than willing to use that in.
Don't ask him if he's taking any chill pills.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to include it in the interview, not only that, I'll definitely be sure with the fan questions that I include in the interview, I'll be listing that it's you, the fan, with your name in there, that you're the one who came up with the question. So
there you go.
It's a great opportunity to kind of branch out and watch this thing grow a bit. I'm excited to do it, and I think it's pretty cool that he's agreed to do this. He didn't have to. He's a busy guy, especially the day before a game.
Very cool. I mean, he's probably got so many obligations the day before a game.
Absolutely. I can only imagine. I'm excited to do it.
So I want to elaborate.
We're happy for you.
I want to elaborate a little bit more on that last question about the fans. And we talked about expectations, okay? Should their expectations drop? I mean, realistically, with what we've gone through with injuries, how many changes are coming with the head coach and or GM, as fans going into next season, should we be expecting to make the playoffs, or should our expectations be set lower, knowing that it could be a year or two, kind of a rebuild, a remolding process?
I guess for me, it kind of depends on the fan. You've got those fans, like the producer Jason, who, he always holds out hope that we're going to be good, that we're always going to win. So for that diehard, and there are different forms of diehard fans, don't get me wrong, but for that kind of a fan, he's going to go into that season with high hopes. I mean, like I talked about earlier in the show, I was ecstatic about the pickups that we had made in the off season. This is our year. 32nd draft pick in the 2013 draft. I'm going to go into it as long as the proper changes are made at GM and head coach. I'm going to go into it looking forward to grabbing a new O-line, giving Phillip Rivers some time to take advantage of the weapons that we have on offense. And I would say, as a fan, I would not lower your expectations at this point. This year is what it is. I mean, it's been terrible. There are a lot of games that we were in that we could have won or should have won. The Denver game, the New Orleans game, the Cleveland game. I know, we can go through all of them, but look at those games. I mean, Denver up up by 24. New Orleans up by 17 in the second half.
Right.
Our defense held, and I know it's the lowly Browns, but I was at that game in shorts, which was really smart of me.
Good job, dude.
It was awesome. Right, it was awesomely warm. No, it wasn't at all.
You were taking your dose of a chill pill.
Yes, and that's why it kind of numbed the skin.
Right.
But there were a lot of games that should have or could have gone different ways that didn't turn out in our favor. I would go into next season with high expectations personally, as long as we don't see A.J. Smith and we don't see Norv Turner back with this club.
Yeah, I'm on the same lines as you, man. I think for any diehard fan, I don't ever go into it. It's like a perfect example. We're Padre fans. Unfortunately, we're Padre fans. Every year we are the lowest budget in baseball. Pretty much, we're at the bottom of the rung. We have no money to spend. We can't acquire anybody. But me and Josh still hype up this team like they're the freaking
Yankees,
the Atlanta Braves of the '90s, and it's like,
Hello.
you know what I mean? And that's the
angels of the here and now.
Yeah, and yes, and that's the kind of fan
right now, right?
That's the kind of diehard fan I'm talking about. We all every year think we're going to go to the Super Bowl. We do. We because that's the life of an NFL fan as a diehard fan.
Right.
You always have optimism. There is no pessimism. There's none of that. There's no negativity when week one's about to kick off, because you are going to win all 16 games, and you're going to the Super Bowl, and we're going to hold the Lombardi Trophy.
Well, and
every year.
That's the exciting thing going into like the OTAs and preseason.
The hype.
Everybody is excited about the players that have been brought in.
Yeah.
You know, they all have the expectations that this could be the year. We're going to the playoffs.
And that's the question. Did we overhype the guys that we brought in?
Extremely overhyped.
Now that we look back, that's a good question. Do we overhype these guys?
Absolutely.
We did. I know me and you did. It's on record.
You know, when Meacham and Royal were signed on, Justin and I were ecstatic. We already started saving money for our Super Bowl tickets. And and now we're wondering how we can
afford to pay off the tickets we already bought.
Even show our face on the show, let alone
well, we were wearing
buy Super Bowl tickets. I mean,
I immediately, and I mean as soon as the jerseys were printed, bought a Navy Eddie Royal jersey and a Navy Robert Meacham jersey. I refused to bring them with me on the flight because I kind of find them to be bad omens.
Nice.
And I was ecstatic about their pickups, and I didn't think either one could replace Vincent Jackson on their own, but I thought throw in, Spurlock and perhaps even, Roscoe Parrish when he was here. They could kind of supplement him to
Roscoe?
a degree, but
I like Roscoe.
Roscoe P. Coltrane?
Yeah, dude, he was cool. No, it's funny, Booga. I have 8 jerseys, and these are the only 2 I have left that are current.
Wow.
NFL player, Chargers. I've got Merriman. I mean, the turnover for the Chargers, it's just like, man. And I look at my jersey, my closet, and I'm like, man, these were good players. That was a good player. That was a really good player. And where has time gone? I mean,
and a good portion of them are still good players on other teams.
Yeah, LT,
Sproles,
Michael Turner,
Breeze,
Sproles.
yeah.
I've got Merriman,
B-Jax,
Cromartie, and it's like, where did all of our talent go?
Right.
I'm looking at our roster now. I'm like, Mike Harris, okay, Haslam, all right, Eddie Royal.
Yeah.
Well, there he's playing today. Cool.
Yeah, he's healthy. All
Darn
right.
it. I like that guy. And that's just kind of like, that's what I'm trying. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. There's so much turnover in the NFL, but it's like, it sucks how much you fall in love with some guys.
Right.
You do. You fall in love, and it's
buying
like,
jerseys nowadays is a huge gamble as a San Diego Charger fan, or perhaps with any team because of parity and free agency in this league.
Like a GM drafting a player.
You never know what you're going to get.
You never know what you're going to get. Guys, this is San Diego Sports Junkies. We're on with BoogaP as part of the Charger Lightning Hour. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back for part 2. So get your questions ready, 619-387-3452. Let your voice be heard. This is San Diego Sports Junkies. We're going to be back here in just a minute. Hey, welcome back to San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
I'm Josh Taylor along with Justin Smead, and we got BoogaP, a.k.a. Dave Peters from BoltBeat.com.
Nice.
We're in part 2 of Chargers Lightning Hour. Please give us a call, 619-387-3452, and let your voice be heard.
Yeah, buddy.
This is a Charger Only's
forum
show.
Yep, it's an open forum to all Charger fans.
We want your questions, so call in. You can tweet us at BoltsPride21.
Yep.
at SDFan2378 or at BoogaP, and
Yes,
we'll pick up your questions and air it on the line here.
Or Sports Junkies Twitter now,
Good question. Thank you, Mike. At SD_sport, SPORT Junkies. First off, let's talk about Gates a little bit. Gates, going into this year, he was a guy that, arguably was healthy. He wasn't having any, plantar fasciitis. The guy we were extremely excited about. I know Justin and I were, and it was one thing that we were really looking forward to is Gates stepping up and really relinquishing his role as a dominant tight end. How much more does he have in the tank?
It's hard to say. Like you said, I had high hopes for him this season, considering, the rumors were that this is as healthy as he had been in anywhere from 3 to 5 seasons. The plantar fasciitis was not acting up. He was able to run. He was able to cut, as he was earlier in his career. As far as how many more successful seasons we're going to see from Gates, I think we've obviously seen the best of Gates, and I still see him as a red zone threat, but I don't see too many more of those 10 catch, 130-yard games.
2 touchdowns.
I think the touchdowns will stay.
Yeah, red zone he's going to be a huge part of if he can stay healthy.
Right, and that's a big if. But we've seen the best of Antonio Gates, and that's a really tough one to say. That's my wife's favorite player. It's somebody that I've got his jersey in every color, so to speak. So, but that was a great question. I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but I'd be willing to say it's probably not too much.
I'm telling you what, there's a few guys that have come through the Chargers organization that I've been really felt about, and kind of sad that they haven't won a championship. Like
LT.
Junior Seau.
Oh, Junior.
Like LT.
Rodney
Harrison. And Gates is one of those guys, and I would love to.
And a Nick Hardwick
see him,
as well.
Right, and I would love to see him, win a ring here in San Diego. I really would. We got a couple more questions via Twitter. First one comes from Sam the Iceman again. How long have you three been Charger fans, and who is your favorite players?
Go
ahead.
I was born a Charger fan, literally. My dad's been a fan since '67. So you figure by the time I started playing Little League football, so to speak, Rocket football at 7, huge Charger fan then, always wore their numbers. My all-time favorite players, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Nice.
I didn't have as much of an issue with some of the things he did towards the end of his career as some people do. But that'd probably be my favorite player. Defensively, Junior Seau.
Yeah.
For sure. I have a cat named Seau. Literally, he's 14 years old.
Hey, what better fan is that? Holy cow.
Yes. When you have felines named after your favorite players of your favorite teams, it means you're legitimate.
There you go.
And also, if you fly across the country, don't doubt my fandom.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's for some of you people on Twitter, and you know who you are.
You just flew across country to see your team. So, for me, I grew up a Charger fan. I was fortunate to have been taken care of by my grandparents all my life. My grandfather's from San Diego. I lived out in Nevada with them. Cool. My grandpa was a season ticket holder for 20 years. He raised me through and through Chargers, no matter what. My all-time favorite player would have to be Junior Seau. Growing up, it was kind of like my era was like the beginning of the 90s, watching him progress through, when he was a draft pick from USC, seeing Rodney Harrison, Terrell Fletcher, Leslie O'Neal, those kind of guys.
Nice.
Those were Alfred Papuno. Those were the guys that I used to watch when I was a kid, and they used to be terrible.
Right?
Yeah, they used to be terrible, and we'd still watch with enthusiasm. And other than that '94 season, where my grandfather, I've never seen a grown man so happy in his life, and I forget how old I was, probably 10 or 11, and I remember him running through the house uncontrollably as we're watching the game, and he knew we won, and Dennis Gibson knocked the ball down. Unbelievable feeling. I thought he lost his flippin' mind. I thought something bad was happening, but I've been a fan for a long time and been through a lot. I mean, just like you guys, been through a lot of ups and downs, and we're still kind of treading water here, but all in all, I've loved being a Bolts fan, and through and through to the end, and will always be true Charger fans.
Not going anywhere. Josh, what about you,
Yeah,
man?
same here, man. I've been a diehard my entire life. My family bleeds blue and gold. Every single one of them bleeds blue and gold. With, like Justin said, it's all started with my grandfather. My grandfather, was born and raised in San Diego, was a diehard Charger fan, would take me to Charger games, Aztec games, Padre games growing up. So I've been just a diehard San Diego sports fan, period, for the last 33 years. And, with the Chargers, I have to agree with Justin as far as, Junior Seau. The guy, not only was he a quality player, but he was just a quality human being.
Right.
Yeah.
He epitomized greatness.
Right, and same with, LT. Those two guys, not only were they phenomenal on the field and really set a standard as far as how an NFL or just a professional athlete, period,
should handle themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that, they're the biggest reasons. And to elaborate further on Justin's, comments as far as watching the Chargers knock out Pittsburgh, to go to the Super Bowl, I was talking to Booga about this the other night, and literally, I'm getting goosebumps as we talk about it. Watching the hysteria around the household, going to Charger Park and watching 4,000 crazy fans standing on top of their motorhomes, climbing trees, doing anything possible to see the players. It was just a phenomenal thing to experience. Mm-hmm. And I pray that I get to have that one more time in my life, because that's the one thing that my grandfather, and I know your grandfather, didn't get to see or experience, is them winning a Super Bowl. And I would love nothing more to watch my team host that trophy and could officially say with conviction that we're world champions.
Anybody in San Diego could say. We haven't won one here.
Like I told you during that same phone conversation, that 94 game, the AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh, I'll never forget Neil O'Donnell's face and Bill Cowher's face, the smiling before that final play, and how just they figured they had it all in the bag. And then when Gibson cuts off, Barry Foster knocks that down. The happiest moment of mine and my dad's football life whatsoever. But what I'm trying to get at is that my number one reason for wanting the Chargers to win a Super Bowl isn't for me. It's so that my dad gets to see them win a Super Bowl before he passes away eventually at some point.
Right.
The guy's been I've been a fan, like I said, since birth, basically. He's been doing it since '67, and he's had the roller coaster in the earlier years when, the AFL teams were good.
Balboa.
And Balboa Park.
Yeah. We did have a championship there.
Yes, sir, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we
See,
did.
That's me too. It's my grandpa just recently passed away, but I was that was the biggest thing to me, because I don't get the calls on Sundays. I felt bad for him, because he's never got to see it. He's spent so much money, countless hours, tailgating, time for that team. He put his heart and soul, and it's just really demoralizing. He never got to see a Lombardi Trophy come to San Diego. And I think for all of us, in their certain point in time in their lives, we're going to be able to see that. And I really strongly believe that someday. And when we do, we will be the happiest fans, happiest city that I think this whole nation will ever see, because we've been through years of just drubbing with the Padres and the Chargers, and even the Aztecs are doing better now, but they weren't always
so close on so many different levels, or having that greatest team on paper in the preseason. We've been up to that point, but
and perfect example, when we went to the AFC Championship game, I think it was 07. Right, 07, when we beat Indy and Chambers had that sideline catch.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to go to Foxborough, and the hysteria just in my neighborhood here in Lakeside. This road right up the street here was lined with cars, and we were at the end of the street. We were drinking beers and having fun. I've never seen a whole town just stop. You couldn't get through the four-way. People were high-fiving each other, getting out of their vehicles, asking for brews. They wanted to tailgate with us.
Of course,
it was like euphoria. It was craziness, and I'm like, this is what I want this for.
Well, see, I was born in November of '79, so I was in the '70s, but didn't get to experience the '70s,
right.
And that's probably what it was.
Same here.
A lot of love going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go.
That's how you were made, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So we got another tweet in from Zeke _Stone 22. What do you think about the new free agent signings to replace Martin and Stuckey? Good, bad replacements as far as is it Guyton and Brinkley?
Brinkley was already with the team. They brought him in more because of the recent injury to Ronnie Brown. Gary Guyton, he's a fast guy. He's played with New England. He's played with the Dolphins. He's not a long-term fix. He's a guy that I kind of like to come in here and fill a bit of a void and make some special teams plays. Kind of like to see what a little Bront Bird action can get going out there on the field.
Bront Bird.
The flying ponytail.
I like Bront
to
Bird.
see what he can do, and it's a shame that DeMario Williams is hurt because I think he's kind of that unsung guy on our roster that's made some, very, very strong plays. 2 pick sixes this year,
Yep.
Right place, right time. He was a signing that I wasn't high on in the offseason, and it turns out that he was one of the better ones.
Yeah, exactly. And from the Chiefs, DeMario Williams. Butler, and that's why I'm so sad about Butler, because he was on his way to an awesome season.
Yeah.
And this is his second full year after I believe it was his Achilles.
He tore his Achilles,
Okay.
and to come back and have the year he had last year,
Right.
You knew he was still going to be a bit slow while trying to play with that injury.
But
getting
this
better.
year
But this
it was like, man, you
looked
can
way faster.
You could see a little bit of I'm not going to call him a Pro Bowler, but you could see on the verge of being very special. And he's one of those leaders. He's a fiery guy. He reminds me a little bit of Steve Foley, a little Steve Foley in him. He's kind of that aggressive
I can see
approach,
that.
but he's mellow mannered where he's got the Donnie Edwards field coverage. He's got a little bit of both of those guys in him, and I just was very upset to see him get injured again. And he's worked so hard to get back, and that's the thing, and unfortunately the injury bug is just bitten us so hard. We got some shout outs to make. I got a couple new guys in the chat room here. White Boy 1270. I would assume you're white. Congratulations on that.
Wow.
Just kidding. Chat room's blowing up with the new coach's idea. Maybe we can throw these out there. 005 throws out there maybe Nick Saban. I'll just go down the list here. Bolts fan 972 says Brian Kelly. And also White Boy 1270 says David Shaw from Stanford, which Booga already touched on. And Zeke Stone 22 says anybody but Norv and AJ.
and that's my favorite answer. I just like to add that. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Right. And then from @Lord of the Gregs to follow suit, who are your top 2 choices for the new head coach and why? Hashtag clean slate.
Love the clean slate hashtag, and it's a necessity at this point. This guy over here is killing him. Set him up just to knock him down. He's making it easy. The rumor is that there isn't going to be the possibility of a head coach GM combo. In other words, a Mike Holmgren, and he was number 1 on my list. He was my 1A, 1B, if you will. And my other head coach that I would like to see brought in would be Chip Kelly. I'm not as high on John Gruden as a lot of people are. He's in my top 5. I think his fiery personality would excite the fans and bring back some of these bandwagon fans that trade in their crutches from breaking their legs from jumping off the bandwagon for pom-poms on Sundays.
Right.
Those are the 2 guys I'd kind of like. David Shaw I think is a great name. Also Jay Gruden. John's brother, who's the offensive coordinator of the Cincinnati Bengals. I'd love to see what he could do with the head coaching position. I'm not sure that's one that would excite the fans, but that's a coach that I would be happy to see in there.
Right.
And then even maybe Mike Zimmer, who's the defensive coordinator of the Bengals. He's a guy who hasn't had a shot as a head coach, and there's been a lot of talk. He's interviewed for some jobs, and actually Mike Zimmer interviewed for the Chargers position when Norv Turner interviewed for it.
Right.
Wow.
Not to say it would have been a better choice, but I think we're all pretty on the same page as far as the Norv Turner experiment and how that turned out.
That's gone.
Right.
My top 2 are, of course, Bobby Ross and Don Shula. So let's get them signed up, and we need a Super Bowl. Let's go. Chop, chop.
1A, 1B, Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry.
And I'm not kidding, by the way. Let's go. No,
I personally, like you were saying, as far as Chip Kelly, I would be excited for him just because I like his style of offense.
Yeah.
But the downfall is bringing in Phillip Rivers.
Could he run that pro-style offense with a pro-style quarterback?
Mobile quarterback.
Could Phillip Rivers be in the fold? Probably not. We would probably have to see a completely different quarterback come in here.
Right.
But part two of that, I know you say Gruden. What about Rick Bisaccia? I mean, the guys absolutely love him.
Yeah.
He's really put in his time here, and I think he deserves a head coach chance in the NFL.
I like Bisaccia a lot. I really do. I think, and I don't want to keep talking about how the signing of a new head coach is going to affect the fans, except for it's pertinent and it matters in this situation. I think there's more of a belief that fresh blood should be brought in.
Yeah.
I really like him. He's fiery. He holds the players accountable.
Yeah.
The anti-Norv.
He is.
I mean, he's gonna get on those guys, and guys that aren't making plays won't be on the field to not be making those plays.
Right, and perfect example is the special teams unit. He took over when we were the worst in the league because we had the debacle in 2010. I'm sorry, and every punt in the world was blocked, and they took him back for touchdowns. Rick Bisaccia came in here with hell, fire, and brimstone, and held them accountable. Like you said, held them accountable. And they weren't used to that around here. It was kind of like, okay, it's a country club. You know what I mean? It was a country club atmosphere, and we're like, okay.
Is this practice done yet?
Yeah, exactly. We got to go golfing and
what
surfing.
What are you guys doing after this?
Yeah, that's the key to me. You got to get somebody in here with some fire, some enthusiasm, some pep in their step.
Right.
I don't care if they can give a pregame speech. I don't care if they can give a postgame speech. Get somebody here who's going to yell at a player once in a while, get on their ass for not making a tackle, missing a read, not making your block, that kind of stuff.
Make halftime adjustments, please.
All I ever see Norv yelling at is Phillip.
Really good at.
It's like Phillip and Norv are a married couple, and it's like, dude, just shut up and sit down, go to the sideline. You just threw the worst pick of your career.
They are exactly like a married couple.
Yeah, and there's no there's no accountability, and that's a frustrating thing about that situation for Charger fans, because we're growing accustomed just to mediocrity and status quo, and it's just got to change. It's really just got to change.
Got another question from Cali Caliente 3.
Ow!
What effect does it have on a team when the defense is putting up all the points? Interesting question.
Wow.
Like morale?
I'm going to start off with saying that, generally speaking, when the defense is putting up points, that's usually sparks the offense. The offense wants to step up and
on their opportunities,
continue the role, so to speak. So I think it might be even the opposite, is the fact that in our situation, the defense, by scoring all the points, and the offense, by struggling so much, is even making it worse for the offense.
I was gonna say it can do that. It can do that to where it'll fire up the offense. Look at what the defense is doing for us out there, putting up points, making plays. Let's get out there. Let's go do it.
Right.
Now, in the way it affects the defense, the inverse to this is every time they go into a game, they're sitting here going, gosh, well, if we don't get a couple defensive or special teams touchdowns, what are we going to put up on offense? We're going to finish the game with 6 points like we did in Cleveland?
It's like hoping and wishing. Like, if it's 0-0 at halftime, they're going to go, man, I wish the defense would score some points.
Right, yeah.
Like, no, it shouldn't be that way. It should be the offense. It should be the defense going, man, I think Phillip's going to put up 28 points today. It should be like that, not the opposite way. But
you look at all the great defenses, they always had that benchmark of points that they said, as long as we can hold this team to 17 points, let's say, when you have even a decent offense with even a game manager type quarterback, a la the 2000 Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer, you can not only get to a Super Bowl, you can win it.
There's the definition of managing a football game.
Well, and back to
Trent
the morale
Dilfer.
thing that you just – no kidding. The morale thing is eventually what that starts to do is when the players come off the field on offense, those defenders are going to – because we don't have a head coach at this time that's going to do it, they're going to hold them accountable.
Right.
They're going to start to get upset.
Right.
They're going to start to say, hey, how in the heck did you miss that block? Ryan, how could you put the ball on the they're going to start to turn and look the other way. That's where it divides things in the locker room. Right. It's where the next thing you know, guys are going to start to not give it their all because they know that regardless of how well they play on defense, the offense isn't going to do what it takes to do their portion of the job.
Yeah, right. And the pendulum has definitely swung this year. I mean, the defensive side of the ball. We have a question in the chat room. It said, how many, this is from Zeke Stone 22, Zeke _ Stone 22. How many people would have thought that Alexander would be our best wide receiver of the season?
Ooh.
Obviously, going into the season, nobody.
We didn't know who he was.
Everybody was assuming that it was going to be Vincent Brown or Malcolm Floyd going into the season, and Justin and I were extremely high on Vincent Brown going into the season.
We missed him this year.
Not only because we're diehard Aztec fans as well, and we'd love to see him succeed, but
not only because we have autographed football cards by him too.
This is
Hello.
true. BoogaP.
Thank
you very much.
Nice, dude. That's just for being on the show with him.
Exactly.
Yeah. I didn't have to call in.
Yeah, he didn't even have to pick up the phone and use up his minutes,
it's
people.
Awesome.
So, my thing is Vincent Brown, was that guy. He had the route running abilities. He had the best hands, arguably, on the team. He's 6'5". The guy can go up and get the ball.
Right.
He had all the intangibles that we were looking for in a replacement to Vincent Jackson. Denario Alexander, obviously didn't come into the fold till later in the season. Now talking about moving forward. Thanks for taking my picture.
I did not do that.
Thanks for moving forward.
It was a great picture.
Denario Alexander, along with Vincent Brown and Malcolm Floyd, there's going to be a lot of battles going on for the top dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And competition breeds excellence. So I mean, it's a good problem to have for this offense for sure.
We got another tweet in from Ultimate Lax Bro.
Hey, there he is.
How would Chip Kelly's coaching style fit the current roster? Rivers is slow. Would he be willing to get rid of Rivers for Kelly?
I don't want to see that happen. I'm glad this came back up though. With Chip Kelly coming in, it's not like he can just employ the same exact game plan and coaching style that he has. There's adjustments he's going to have to make as well as the players that he's going to bring into the fold. A new head coach, depending on what type of power they have, given by what we would hope to be a new GM, they might, and I hate to say this, but they might look at 17 and say, this is not the guy that I want to, and maybe not even a Chip Kelly. Maybe somebody else that's brought that they happen to bring in that has just said, I am not buying the Phillip Rivers.
I'm not drinking the
train.
Kool-Aid.
I'm not on board with this. I would like to look for somebody different. There are a lot of teams out there who want or need quarterbacks. Right. Arizona, gosh almighty. I've played quarterback for them this year.
Ryan Lindley's a beast. Come
on.
And
Lindley was 10 for 31 2 weeks ago for a whopping 67 yards.
You leave him alone.
So
Aztecs, baby.
Let me ask you this question, okay? Chip Kelly coming in or not, we sure up the offensive line, and Phillip Rivers stays status quo of 2011, 2012. What now?
Oh man,
I think this next upcoming year is an extremely big season for him.
Right.
As far as proving that the 2010 Phillip Rivers that led the league in passing yards and threw to an NFL record 17 different receivers is actually capable of putting up those numbers again.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old. He just turned 31 December 8th. He's not old in quarterback years by any means. He doesn't have a long history of injuries. We get an offensive line in there, and he's still not able to perform up to the level at which we have seen him before. 2013 could be the last year that we see Phillip Rivers and Lightning Bolts.
And I'll give him a mulligan if they don't do anything in the offseason to bring in help for him on the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you're going to throw him out there to the Wolves, don't blame him for getting sacked, fumbling, throwing picks because his feet aren't planted, throwing off his back foot, which we've seen so much this year.
Yeah.
And into coverage, mind you. Don't get mad about that, Chargers. I mean, if the Chargers organization feels like their line is solidified and they're good, they got some issues, man. And with a new coach brings change. Everybody knows that. New GM, the guy that they say is probably going to take over is what's his name?
Jimmy Ray. He's been with the team for
a long time,
a decade and a half, I believe, something along those lines.
And that would spark his own guy. He'd want to bring in his own guy. I would imagine Dean would give him that power,
which could even be Bisaccia.
If
Jimmy Ray is the GM,
and
that's
like
a possibility.
We said, Bisaccia, we wouldn't mind having. I wouldn't mind having. I like his fire. So
and a lot of the players on the team really have a passion for him, and they really really like him as a
human being. Yeah, no, he's just a good guy. I think that I think the fundamental part about Rick Bisaccia's game is he makes sure, we already said he makes sure players are accountable, but he teaches fundamentals. I don't know if Norv's in there going, hey, get down lower in a three-point stand. You know, the little small, minute things that you probably wouldn't think of that a coach would. He seems like a guy. Yeah, the detail work that I don't see Norv being that type of guy. I see Rick Bisaccia being more detail-oriented, so I wouldn't be displeased with that if he was our new coach.
And that one little thing
could make the big difference.
Could take a guy from here to here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think because we've had Norv too, people have kind of lost the essence of, you know, not having a coach that's that dual guy that's both the head coach and the offensive coordinator. If Bisaccia is brought in as the head coach, there's a great opportunity to bring in a strong offensive coordinator and a strong defensive coordinator, which hopefully it's still Pagano. Really like what he's done. And have the head coach just truly be a leader of men.
Right. Be a leader. Don't silly Sally with your game speeches. And,
absolutely.
You know, it's just like, dude, come on.
No more Shirley stuff.
We got another call into the show. Lord of the Gregs. Welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies.
What up, dude?
Hey, can I call in and shout out my man BoogaP? Looking good on the TV, son.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Pop
Thank
your
you.
collar. Pop your collar.
It's the lights in here, so to speak.
Yeah.
And my punum.
Yeah, he enunciated those eyes with his hat and his shirt.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, it brings out my eyes. It was a wardrobe non-malfunction. It was put together intentionally.
So Lord of the Gregs, what do you got for us as far as your feeling about the Chargers this season, and what do you want to see happen in the short-term future?
Well, you know what? I had to call in and rep for my boy Phillip Rivers.
Go for it, buddy. Tell us.
Ahead. I hear all the talk about him, and you know what? Any coach who's going to come in here and not keep Phillip Rivers should not even get a contract. He should be kicked out of the building as soon as he says no, because Phillip is a franchise quarterback.
He is.
And there's probably about 27 other teams in this league who would die to have that guy.
I agree, Greg. I agree.
Yeah, no. You know what? A lot of teams would love. You know, like Booga said earlier, Arizona would love to have Phillip Rivers as their quarterback. Miami would love to have Phillip Rivers as their quarterback. There are a lot of teams out there that would die to have Phillip Rivers as a quarterback. We got to remember too, he is a perennial Pro Bowl quarterback. He's been to the top. He's been to the mountain. He's been one of those guys we can rely on, count on. If this was any other guy, if we were talking about a rookie or a third-year guy that we kind of liked, it'd be a different story. This guy's proven himself. He's been to the top, and for me, you just got to keep this guy flowing. You got to get him help. We can't just rush somebody out of here. You just gave him a $100 million contracts, for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, that you keep him around. He's your leader. He's been a staple here in your locker room. If I'm going to win with anybody, I want to win with Phillip Rivers, and I love his fire, and I wouldn't take anybody else on.
So I want to take a negative twist on this.
That's absolutely it. If you look at the numbers, it bears it out. The last two seasons, he's had no line. He's been running, and we know what happens when Phillip runs.
It's scary.
And the numbers speak for themselves. He's throwing ridiculous amounts of interceptions.
Yeah.
But it's because his line's falling apart.
Right.
When the Schottenheimer regime and the first few years of Norv regime, we had the same guys on the line who've been together 4, 5, 6 years, and they were solid. And when they were solid, Phillip threw 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns every season with maybe 10 interceptions.
Right.
And so that's your proof right there. You give him a solid line, he puts up those numbers. You don't give him a solid line, you get what we have right now. So anybody who's talking about not keeping Phillip Rivers is out of their mind, because we see what he can do when he's got time.
Remember when he had Pro Bowlers around him? He didn't. This year he looks like he's running scared from. Yeah, I know, right? He's running scared from the snap. And in previous years, you could see how comfortable he was. He was comfortable inside the pocket. He didn't flinch. He would move and he would scoot right or left. He would feel the pressure. And now I feel one guy, I'm gone. And it is. It's just one guy, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, oh, in a hurry for him too. I mean, you automatically see
with
him
concrete blocks.
Yeah, uncomfortable in those little blocks of his, so to speak.
Yeah.
Pitter pattering, and you see Phillip when he gets happy feet. It's not like Peyton Manning back there.
No.
Peyton Manning deliberately is making those kind of steps. Phillip is doing it because he's scared for his life.
Oh yeah.
Greg, I agree with you, man. Get an O-line in here for him. Don't give up on 17.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And Greg, I have nothing against Phillip Rivers. I'm the biggest Charger fan, Phillip Rivers fan. I want to see him succeed. I know he can light up the scoreboard, but what I'm getting at is Aaron Rodgers for Green Bay has been the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. His line is arguably worse than what we're dealing with here in San Diego, and he has 29 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how much can you put it on the line, and how much can you say, it's some of the decisions that Phillip Rivers is making as a quarterback. He has progressions. He doesn't have to always go for Gates. He doesn't always have to go for Alexander. If they're covered, why is he throwing in triple coverage?
Right.
I mean, there is decisions that he needs to make that are better, because obviously there's other quarterbacks in similar situations that are being way more successful.
Real quick, we have to be careful comparing an Aaron Rodgers to our man Phillip Rivers, knowing that Aaron Rodgers is in the top 5 category for mobile quarterbacks.
Right.
Phillip Rivers is in the bottom 3. So I mean, I get what you're saying. Different pieces around them. It's a fair kind of comparison, except for the fact that two different beasts as far as Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers. I think any team in the NFL, minus New England and perhaps
the guys with
Atlanta and New
quarterbacks.
Orleans would take Aaron Rodgers. And coming into this season, Aaron Rodgers would probably be considered the preseason MVP.
Right.
So safe to say there's an evolution going on in the NFL, and the pocket passers are slowly being
it kind of seems that way, but if you take a younger Phillip Rivers too, I mean, this guy looks, to me, he reminds me of Dan Marino late in his career now, when Phillip scoots outside the pocket with his shuffles,
right.
and Dan's big knee brace, that's 3 sizes too big for Dan Marino.
Looking like the Michelin Man.
Right, and you're like, okay, Dan, I get it. You're not mobile, don't run. But yeah, it sucks because we love him so much. We put all our stock into Phillip. We're hoping he comes back to form like he used to 2010 and before that. I just think we got to give him some help, and I think things will right itself. And as long as he's comfortable back there, he'll make the plays necessary to win. So.
We got another tweet coming in from Double D05. He wants to know, where are you guys tailgating this Sunday?
I think we're going to be in between N4 and M4. Right next, that's N as in Nancy and M as in means as in natron. Natron means 4. Think of it that way. People remember
means.
it. By the way, we have an autograph card here, autographed by Natron means for the folks that are participating.
Yep.
It's over here in the stack.
That
we
reminds me.
2 Natron means cards. Oh, excuse me. We got 1 Natron means, 1 Marion Butts, but there's your Natron's means right here. Natron means business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that reminds me. There's a guy in the chat room that is participating. His name is Whiteboy1270. He just wants to make a statement. He hates Charlie Whitehurst for injuring Vincent Brown. I thought that was just funny, so I wanted to say it. Kudos to you, and I really didn't think about that, but thank you. At least he went out with glory. He caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah,
I mean,
we were at that game, actually, our peanut gallery that's here tonight. That's where I met these fine folks.
Oh, yeah.
And although it was a win here at home,
it was a very painful victory.
It was tough to see the guy that we were all extremely excited about to go down like that with a serious injury. I mean, we all, looking on the field and seeing it, having to wait for the cart to come out, and it's quite the mountain to a valley when you go from this huge touchdown and we're all going crazy. Right. It's like, okay, he's not getting up.
Right.
Okay, now he's been down for a while.
Yeah.
Now they're bringing the cart in. Yeah. I mean, that was frustrating. And darn you, Clipboard Jesus.
Speaking of Clipboard Jesus, Zeke_Stone22's got another tweet in. If Phillip Rivers was to get injured, could we trust Clipboard Jesus to lead our team?
For the first half.
I would say the first
as long
3
as he hands
plays,
off.
And they were run plays.
Exactly. Is it first half, and as long as he hands off the ball.
I say if we have an offensive line and Ryan Matthews is the Ryan Matthews that we all hope he could be, and Charlie Whitehurst could be a la
Volek.
From 49ers, who's been
Alex Smith.
benched, Alex Smith, and not make the mistakes. You know what I mean?
Manage a football game.
Alex Smith doesn't light up the scoreboard, throwing the ball down the field, but he doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over.
Before he got benched, he had over 100 passer rating.
Right. If Charlie Whitehurst can not turn the ball over, and we have somewhat of a running game, absolutely he could fit in.
That's who you need to bring in next year
and lead our team.
Smith.
For me, no, I don't think it's a bad call. For me, it would depend on the severity of the injury of Phillip. If it was a season-ending injury, I would say get on the horn with Billy Volek that I just brought up. I love Billy Volek. I would never say have him.
That 07 playoff game was amazing.
The guy is not some flashy guy. He's almost as slow as Phillip. You'd have to have an offensive line back there, but he can manage a game. He's smart with the football. If it was to be a serious injury, and please don't let me jinx him by even talking about this like this, but if it was a season-ending injury, I would like to see somebody else brought in other than good old Barry Gibb, clipboard Jesus back there singing "Staying Alive" because he'd have to behind that.
I'm
offensive
thinking
line.
we bring in Chip Kelly and hire Doug Flutie. He can run that offense. Let's go.
Absolutely. He's on the box, people.
Let's do it. Flutie Flakes, baby.
Flutie Flake it up.
He's probably 72 years old, but he could probably still run like a gazelle.
His daughter's on the cheer team. I mean,
that's true.
That's awesome.
No better seat for him.
I don't know what
right there on the field.
I don't know what substance that adds to the show, but that's awesome. That's awesome. Good for you, Dougie.
BoogaP approved.
Do the Dougie. Yeah.
So, as far as the Chargers go, it's safe to say that they need to seriously consider getting a backup in here, whether it's through the draft that's going to learn behind Phillip Rivers or get something a little better than Charlie Whitehurst.
Right.
To fill in that void in case, God forbid, Phillip Rivers does go down.
That brings an interesting point to the chat room. We have a new follower, a San Diego football fan, is in the chat room, and he actually
welcome.
Welcome to the show. He actually made a statement here. We need a quarterback to light a fire under Rivers, like we've been talking about. He might be too comfortable knowing he won't lose his job. He's complacent. Exactly what we were touching on earlier. I mean, we can beat this horse, to death, but it is true to me. I think I'm not abandoning Phillip Rivers. I just think that in Norv's offense, he's gotten really comfortable. He set up shop there, and it's like maybe he doesn't have that fire as much because he knows his job's secure.
Well, really comfortable, and to extend that a little bit more, remember early on in the year, Ryan Matthews fumbled the ball. Next game they benched him, and we were talking about that. Phillip turning the ball over like crazy,
and they don't do nothing.
And is that fair to bench Ryan Matthews and not bench Phillip Rivers?
Right.
If you're gonna bench one, you got to bench the other, because how does that look? To Ryan Matthews, like, well, what the heck? I fumble one ball and they bench me. He's thrown 7 interceptions.
That I don't know if it goes both ways for the quarterback.
Right. But if you have a better backup,
I understand, but I don't know how you could bench Phillip Rivers. I just don't with clipboard Jesus standing there. I don't know.
And it's not like the hypothetical, if we did have a better backup quarterback, if Rivers was in there making the same mistakes, but only he had a better offensive line, then I would say
or Colin Kaepernick backing him up, right? So it's like, okay, maybe you have a decision to make right now. This guy brings a different element. Clipboard Jesus does not bring an different element.
It goes back to AJ, guys. It goes back to who he brought in to be that second guy, that guy who
he's shopping at Walmart with a discount counter.
Absolutely.
It's not good.
He put him on layaway.
Yeah.
I don't think we've paid him all the way off yet.
No, he went to Groupon and he's like, get me a quarterback. And he's like, and they're like, we'll give you Charlie Whitehurst and we'll throw in a $20 hot dog gift card.
Right, exactly.
So
you get Charlie Whitehurst, a hot dog, and a beer.
That's not good at all. Who wants to see him? And I'm going to enjoy my hot dog while I watch Charlie Whitehurst.
I'll go for the beer right now.
Groupon is not the way to go, Mr. AJ Smith. So that's just the way it's going. So for me, Target time.
Target time.
Shop
at the Red Dot, baby.
I love Target. Not going to hate on Target.
So guys, again, I want to thank you for all joining in with us on San Diego Sports Junkies. We haven't done the back-to-back shows. We've been on for about an hour and 40 minutes now, and I really thank you guys all for tuning in, for your questions, for calling in.
Everything.
Very cool, guys.
This show's for you, man. That's why we keep saying it's a show for fans.
By the fans.
We want your voice to be heard. Always feel free to call in. Tweet us during the week if you want the shows. We'll add it to our show notes. But this show is really for you guys. We're just up to here, being the pretty face. Well, at least
not that. You might be. I'm not.
At least some of us. But again, not to prolong this any longer. Thank you guys for tuning in to San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
I'm Josh Taylor with Justin Smead and our co-host of co-hosts, BoogaP.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for...
it's all good. Thanks, guys.
Hey, quick shout out before we end it. Bolts fan 1972 wants some love from Panama City Beach. So,
right there in Florida, buddy.
Right on,
we love that you're repping us down there, man. That's awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. This show is for you guys. San Diego Sports Junkies, we are out.
See ya. Thank you.